The reflection that followed, it began with a dare. Eleanor had moved into her grandmother's abandoned house 2 weeks before Halloween. The locals whispered about the place, about how her grandmother never allowed mirrors inside. Every reflective surface had been covered or thrown out. Eleanor, amused by the superstition, went to the thrift store and bought the largest antique mirror she could find. She set it in the upstairs hallway, leaning against the wall opposite her bedroom door. The first night, she laughed at herself for jumping every time she caught her reflection. But laughter faded when she realized the reflection didn't always match her movements. Sometimes, when she walked past, the figure in the glass lingered a second too long before following. Sometimes she swore it smiled. At 3:07 a.m., she awoke to a faint tapping, a fingertip on glass. She opened her bedroom door. The hallway was silent, but the mirror stood there, catching the pale moonlight. Her reflection stared back, except it wasn't her. The hair was slightly longer, the grin a little too wide, and when she raised her hand, the reflection didn't. She slammed the door and pressed her back against it, heart pounding. The next morning, she threw a sheet over the mirror, but that night, the sheet was gone, folded neatly at the base, like a gift. By the third night, she started recording with her phone, determined to catch whatever was happening. Hours into the footage, at precisely 3:07 again, the sheet slid off the mirror, though nothing had touched it. Eleanor was asleep in bed. Then, on the recording, her reflection slowly stepped out of the glass. Except Eleanor never woke up. She found the phone in the morning, screen cracked, recording cut off after 9 minutes of static. She told herself it was a trick of the light, a glitch, anything but what it looked like. But that day she noticed her shadow moving wrong, her reflection in the kitchen window blinking before she did. That night she locked her bedroom door, barricaded it with a chair, and faced away from the mirror in the hall. At 3:07, the tapping came again, louder, impatient, the sound of nails dragging across glass. Then, silence. Eleanor forced herself not to turn. She pulled the blanket over her head. Minutes passed, then hours. At dawn, sunlight slipped under her door. She exhaled, relieved, until she heard the creak of the bedroom floorboards behind her. She froze. Slowly, she turned her head, and there she was, herself, standing at the foot of the bed, smiling too wide, eyes too dark, head tilted at an impossible angle. The last thing Eleanor remembered was the reflection, leaning close and whispering in her own voice, "You were supposed to let me in sooner." When neighbors came days later, they found the house empty. Not abandoned, empty. No furniture, no belongings. Just one thing in the center of the hallway upstairs. A massive antique mirror, its surface faintly rippling like water. And if you look closely, just closely enough, you'll see Eleanor pounding on the inside of the glass, screaming silently as something else wearing her face walks free on the other side.